Welcome to Meteor Impact. I'm Leo, the creator of Meteor DevTools Evolved, and I'll show you everything you need to know to install, use, set up, and develop the open source project for the extension. So, we need to install the extension, and to do that we can go to Google, type Meteor DevTools Evolved, or just Meteor DevTools and then choose the second option. It's way better, by the way. Is add to Chrome. Then you can go back to any Meteor application, click inspect. If you had clicked inspect before, then you have to reload the page. We need to do that anyways, because the injector needs to be working, otherwise it will not intercept the logs. As you can see, the logs are already appearing here. We can see the content. We can add to bookmarks. We can see the stack trace. You can do all kinds of interesting things. You can even search for duplicates by copying the hash. There are these filters. You can choose whatever type of DDP log you want to filter. You can go to Minimongo, and all of these searches are a fuzzy search, so you can search for anything. It's not a query. It's very simple. In the beginning, I wanted this to be very welcoming to beginners, so you don't need to know any Mongo queries or whatever. You can just search for stuff. It's also easier on a daily basis if you work with Meteor. The extension is not doesn't have as many features as the older one, but I think that's pretty much enough. The core features needed to work with Meteor. Of course, there are people using GraphQL and other more complex things, but this is enough for me, from our use case. I don't have much time, otherwise I would implement other things that I don't use, but for that I need help. That's why it's open source and anyone can contribute. No one did yet, but hopefully someone will contribute. Meteor is a great platform. Well, here we have 4 tabs: DDP, bookmarks, subscriptions. Bookmarks and DDP are kind of related because this is just the bookmark for DDP logs. You can basically see methods as well. You can just, if it's a call, let's see, it's a call, you can repeat that method call right here, or you can repeat it from here. You can see it automatically redirected us to DDP. We found a small bug here because the tab didn't switch, but that's fine. I'll fix that later. Also, you can search for stuff, as I said before. We are filtering for methods, but we can filter just for collection additions and updates and whatever. You can see the content of what was added. Of course, you can see that later on Minimongo as well. You can search for like date or I don't know, meter. It's anything. Okay. Here we have the number of logs. We have the download size, the upload size, and then this is the total number of logs stored. And if you click here, it will clear everything. This one is the count from the filter, so it takes into account the filter and the search. On the bookmarks, it will show only the bookmarks that you've added, so you can add a really old one. It doesn't have any constraints. It will be stored there forever, or until you clear the cache from the browser. Now on Minimongo, we can see all the documents that Meteor is storing on the browser. It will show the size. This is a new feature. Someone really cool asked me some time ago. And by default, we are showing every document, so we can search globally. For example, you can see here this is my personal entity and my people profile entity and all that. It's really cool. You can also search for whatever you like. It's just a normal fuzzy find. It's just a string representation. It's very easy. Now we have the subscriptions. And this is really just a simple list of the subscriptions already present on Meteor. I'm just calling the default method and getting the list of the property, of course. You can search for subscriptions, so person, it's very easy. Here it's fine because we have just about 7 of them, but on really large applications you have a ton of them, so search is pretty handy. Now we have these other options here. This is the about, which will show just general information. There is this change log thing. You can see the latest changes. I don't have much time lately to make changes, but I am planning some cool features in the future, like a package companion to communicate with extension and get metadata for carries and all that. I am planning something around that. But I am very unsure about my time lately. This is the community link, which will open the Slack invite for the Meteor community. Here you have issues, so any issues you have, even though it's not important or something, it's not urgent, you can just open and document it there, and I'll take a look, and perhaps even if you have a cool feature in mind, please do so. It might help us. Even perhaps someone might pick it up and implement it and help and contribute to the open source project. It might be very helpful. And of course, this star thing, you can see that it has this shine effect. It was very fun creating that. It's very fun. Well, one of the things that people ask me about is about the Firefox extension. I'm not very familiar with Firefox extension ecosystem because I think it's different, very different from Chrome's. I'm not very familiar, so I can't say, and I don't have the time to dedicate to create an extension for Firefox. And I personally don't use Firefox on a daily basis. I used it in the past, but I've gravitated towards Chrome. So sorry. If anyone that's more familiar and wants to help, I can collaborate and help with the business domain logic, whatever. It might be more viable. For the future, as I said, I'll try to implement a package companion. So if you have any cool ideas which can happen when you communicate with the server, and that would be awesome. My basic knowledge of that is that I can implement some carries and metadata things, perhaps some resource monitoring and whatever. That's my initial plan. So let's see how the future unfolds. I hope the community liked this video. I wish people would contribute more and help with this amazing extension that people would use. Perhaps implement some GraphQL things, I don't know. Perhaps there's no need because there are specialized extensions out there, but things that I don't use but other people use, perhaps it would be interesting to have people specialize in that sort of feature, you know. I'm limited by myself, so if you want to contribute, you're very welcome to do so. And to do that, you need to set up the project, right? We can go to the once you have cloned, it's easy to clone, everyone knows that, I think. You can just go to the project. I'll just show the scripts that I have. You can just run source and JRC if you're on Linux. I'll not go into detail on development for Windows or Mac, because this video is just limited scope to Linux. I don't have much time, but you can just go and type source in VRC and it will load those custom functions, and then you just go and set up it will install all the dependencies. Right now we have the main project for the extension, and we also have a development app inside the Hippo. Here is the application, and once you set up, it will automatically start, as you can see here. Let's see if I remember which is the address, or I think it's 9,000. Let's see. No, it's 3,000. It's 8,000 something, or 5,000. Let's see. 5,000. Cool. Now we can open the extension. And we have just 3 options here. This will just, of course, we need to, it's filtering. So it'll just call some sample Meteor method calls. Perhaps doing this will be easier. Just see. Then we have this spam thing, which I've created to stress test it and see if the buffering thing is working. So we can take a huge number of logs fine without crashing the extension. And of course you have the string thing. First, I wanted to evolve more this test application, this development application. But as I said before, I don't have much time. I just created this thing that barely works, and it's doing it for me. And hopefully people can pick it up and help. I don't know, but it's amazing. I didn't expect people to like it so much and install it. I think there is 1,000 people already can install it. It's crazy. It was just a secret project that I had, and people said that I should publish it. Now it is what it is, so awesome. Okay, I can give you a tour of the code as well. As you can see, the code is all in TypeScript, because I love TypeScript. It's amazing. It just basically the language service and the IDE handle so much for you that you don't need to think about some of the details of programming and switching tabs to get the information you need. You just think about programming and that's it. You define the schema for things and the IDE will do the rest. Then you can focus on testing and whatever. You can even turn off the type check if you need it. For example, sometimes I am testing something, I just set any there and then I type the testing, and that is very helpful. You are not obligated to do things. You basically configure TypeScript the way you want it, but in the past it's not very easy to use TypeScript with Meteor if you want to take advantage of the full feature set of TypeScript. People are working hard on it, I've seen, so it's getting better. It would be really awesome if Meteor supported TypeScript, fully supported TypeScript out of the box, and those complex types of projects, that would be really awesome. The project is based on Webpack and I think Blueprint JS. It's a cool component library for React. We have some utils here, some hooks, custom hooks. This thing is the CRC32 hash thing. I didn't know how useful it would be. It's not very useful, I guess, but it's very beautiful to see. Okay, we have the bridge. Basically, the bridge is where the extension communicates with the background service, and through the background service, it communicates with the browser. Because on Chrome, everything is sandboxed, so you can only communicate with the app through messaging. It's an internal messaging thing. Yeah, we have the browser-related stuff. This is the injector. It will inject the logic in the app. You have to monkey patch some stuff to intercept the messages. The Meteor library, this is the thing that gets the subscriptions. It will just get the property from the connection. It's very simple. I just added this to prevent some recursive thing. We have the components here. The database, I am using Dexy to use the IndexedDB database inside the extension for bookmarks and configurations and all that. I created some logic to autosave and load in real time. It's just very simple. We have here are the injectors, because this one here will import these other injectors, and this one is for DDP, this one is for this is basically a message subscription thing. It's not very evolved. In the beginning, I wasn't very familiar with all the Chrome extension development thing, so I kind of just refactor some things from the old one, but most of it is new code, working on the principles that I reverse engineered from the first one, as it is an open source project. This is the Minimongo injector. This is one of the things that I can optimize more, because this is pretty heavy, I think. Right now, I can optimize it more. Perhaps if I monkey patch the Minimongo stuff directly in the browser, then I can intercept individual messages and then build the extensions, the database, without incurring much cost. Here we have, this is the body of the extension, actually, the pane, where all the interface is. We have the drawer for the JSON. We are using this object reorinator that I implemented. I spent a lot of hours doing this because all the components that were on the npm registry were kind of not performing well. It's kind of limited, but it was a fun experience. It's a recursive component thing. It's just simple and effective. I want to implement something to export the JSON. You can just copy paste, but again, I need to have time for that. We have the store. I am using MobX because the complex data that we have here, I kind of felt that I needed the inheritance and the decorators and the power that MobX has. But of course, I don't like using MobX for every project. It's kind of cut it. It's amazing when you use Typescript. MobX, I think it's kind of unusable if you want to use it only with JS. But it is very cool. We have inheritance, and I create these classes. I think this one is an abstract class, and yeah, and you can re-implement things. Just can reuse logic. I'm reusing the same thing for bookmarks and then for the DDP logs. Here is where I actually store the logs and all that, and I can implement the search directly on the store with true actions and filter and compute it. This is just very cool. As you can see, we have one store for subscriptions and for settings, and we have DDP, bookmark, then we have Minimongo. This is the root store, the panel store, where everything is encapsulated. This is the global one. So I didn't create, I tried to not go into much complexity here, but this seems to work. We have the styles, we have it's using Sass. I have some familiarity with Sass, but I'm not a designer, and this is just something very simple to include some libraries and the styles from the blueprint library, component library. And of course, I'm using Yosevica as a custom font because it's just nice on the eyes. I used for development for a long time. Now I switched it to Mono. I think it's better to read. Okay. What else? Yes, we have an option for prod, and yeah, this is the Webpack configurations. So we have a base one, then we are merging it for some specific ones, one from development and one for production. We have some utilities here. This is getting the aliases from the Typescript configurations. So Webpack can interpret the paths correctly. It's kind of necessary. You have to do it both in both steps, both on the part of the TypeScript and on Webpack if you are using Webpack. If you are compiling it directly, then I think you don't need it, or perhaps you can use a library to register it on Node.js, and then it will include the modules, import the modules correctly. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Once you've let's go back to the NVRC, and here you have some comments, which is one for updating Meteor. We have want to get them. This is just a utility one, I think, where you can just pack the extension and build. Let's use the build one. This is the main one that we use. I don't know about that error. It already exists. Hopefully it doesn't break anything. I think it's building. So it just, okay, it's the version already exists. So we can just, oh no, right, it generated the file. So this is the file that we can add to Chrome. If you can load it unpacked or can add to a store. I think this spec extension you can use to just drag and drop into Chrome, and it will install the development version. So you can just clone the repo and get the latest development and then pack the extension, and you can just drag and drop into Chrome, and then you can test some new features and whatnot. And that's pretty much it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not very familiar with recording videos, but I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure. English is not my main language, and hope that the Meteor community enjoys the event as well. Thank you very much. Hi, welcome to Meteor Impact. I'm Leo, the creator of Meteor DevTools Evolved, and I'll show you everything you need to know to install, use, set up, and develop the open source project for the extension.